So we see that Kamala is copying Donald Trump. But I didn't know that she sent the IRS after waiters tips in 2023. She can't be trusted.
The Internal Revenue Service under Joe Biden now wants to crack down on tips in the service industry.
This was a policy of her own administration, and now she's saying, oh, no tax on tips.
Harris is a puppet. She doesn't have one original idea.
How many times did President Trump say this?
Everybody knows this is Trump's idea. He's taken it to the forefront. But look, the media is covering up for Harris, and she's counting on that.
What I think she's doing is looking to copy the Trump plan. The American people aren't stupid. He's been saying this, and Democrats in some cases have even said negative things about it.
How does she reconcile that against the policy she's been a part of with Biden and Harris, where they've gone after, haven't they not, with the IRS, things like taxes on tips?
In the past, the vice president pushed for increased taxes across the board to pay for progressive programs. This includes bumping capital gains taxes to 35%, increasing the estate tax.
She is just not able to do much else. I mean, besides steal and plagiarize.
Kamala has no imagination whatsoever, as shown by the fact that she played copycat with no taxes on tips.
The only thing original about Kamala Harris is she's taking an original page out of the Democrat playbook. That's the only thing original about her. Because, I mean, what has she offered that was of her own? Nothing. And then on top of that, I think a lot of people fail to recognize that she's actually the sitting vice president right now. Like, she's the VP. And a lot of the things that she's campaigning on are things that she likely has some sort of control or influence, rather, to invoke these type of policies that she's saying she's running after. And if I'm being honest, right now would probably be the perfect time for her to start implementing these, or getting Biden together to try to implement these tactics that she's trying to use. Well, obviously plagiarism, but you know, that would definitely go well over with the American people. That's more believable than you actually doing this. I mean, somebody posted this too. Taxes are nothing more than theft. If you spend it, they tax it. If you save it, they tax it. If you invest it, they tax it. If you build it, they tax it. If you sell it, they tax it. If you live in it, they tax it. If you drive in it, they tax it. If you eat in it, they tax it. If you give it away, they tax it. When you unalive, they tax it. Then they waste it. And that's exactly what we see going on with Kamala. I think if you translate Kamala in any other language, it'll probably just translate to horrible. Anyhow, Gen Z voters detail. This Gen Z voter details her struggle in the Harris economy. Quote, why is a one-bedroom apartment $1,600? Rent prices are outrageous in these jobs. They're bare minimum jobs, end quote. Let's go and check this out.
I'm 20 years old. Why is a one-bedroom apartment $600, $1,600? Like, oh my God, for 500 square foot.
One at a time, I said. Yep.
Rent prices is outrageous. And then these jobs, they're bare minimum jobs. Like, I'm supposed to be in customer service. Before I was a server, I was working at like fast food restaurants, and nothing against them, love it, but we need them jobs. But why are you yelling at me over a burger? So it's one of those type of things. It's like the work life, trying to balance out school, trying to balance out finding housing. It's just overhyped. Like, I really waited my whole life to grow up and do this.
I can feel her pain. As a father of three, yeah, man. And going to the grocery store, everybody I talk to, I talk about how maybe you can take $20 and to you be able to eat off of it for a few days. And the response I get is like, what? That's like foreign. That was in ancient times. And that's what it feels like under this Biden-Harris administration. Let's read a few of the comments. Quote, Kamala can't solve the problem because she is the problem. And quote, that was from Trump. It's not complicated. Somebody said it's hard to afford anything today with Kamala Harris policies. People are waking up, definitely. I would love to tell her how much the rent was on that same one-bedroom apartment back in 2021. Yeah. But climate change. It says, well, she'll still vote Democrat because that's how she was told how to vote. And I think this year is definitely the narrative is shifting around that. I think people are encouraged, and actually they have incentive to now make sure that they go to the polls in November for sure. They said, here's a dirty little secret. Democrat leaders hate poor people. Ouch. The rent is too damn high. Gen Z hates Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. They have ruined their future. Yeah, because this demographic right here is the demographic that they're supposed to be shining in. We always say all the time, when you're younger, you're perceived, and it's okay to be a liberal Democrat, socialism sort of mindset, because you want what's best for everybody. And then you grow older and you realize, like, I do want what's best for everybody, but I think this thing need to go to where it need to go. Now, one of the biggest issues with Kamala Harris is obviously the border, obviously her history that they're trying to erase and things of that nature. But I want you guys to listen to this. It says an American business owner is selling her food truck because a legal immigrant shows up with paperwork that he is getting funding to purchase her truck with no money in the bank and no credit. Wow. She speaks with the bank and is told that this is common. Illegal immigrants are being given funding to purchase things like this. That's insane. Let's hear a story.
I need this message to go out to our vice president who's running for president. I have heard all over social media about, excuse me if I say anything wrong, immigrants getting loans, money. It was hard for me to believe. It was just extremely hard for me to believe. I've been in business such a long time. Back in 2019, I purchased my first food truck. It cost me over $25,000. I paid it cash money. I worked hard to pay for this truck. I'm now selling it because I'm doing other things, but I'm selling it. I had a guy come to look at purchasing my vehicle or my food truck, and he explained to me he's an illegal immigrant. He has no credit. He has no money in the bank. But he showed me his paperwork that he will receive funds to purchase my food truck. I'm thankful that he's buying it, but I'm hurt that I worked so hard to pay cash for my food truck. I have good credit, can't even get a business loan because of the color of my skin. I have veterans in my family. I'm a veteran. I've been self-employed for so long. But somebody, please tell me, how do I work so hard to have somebody who comes to this country, not long, no credit, and he shows me paperwork where they'll be funding him money to buy my food truck. And when I talked to the bank, they told me usually they have to go straight to a dealership because I'm a private sale. But for special circumstances, they're going to, they allow it. But I need my president to tell me why I worked so hard all these years, all these decades. Couldn't get a business loan, but I bust my ass to get the money to create my business. And we got immigrants coming here. And they're getting money. Money! We're doing nothing but just being here. It's not right, and I want answers.
Now, for YouTube's sake, I want to mention that obviously this woman is emotionally distraught, but she's in no sort of distress or nobody's after her. Nothing violent or volatile is happening to her in this moment. She's just expressing her frustration, and it comes with, some emotional tears, rightfully so. Just want to make sure YouTube understands that nothing vicious or volatile was happening. But this is sad right here. And it also, rightfully so, enrages me. I mean, who wouldn't get ticked off at this? You've worked so hard your whole life. You've paid taxes in this country your whole life. You put in hours, blood, sweat, and tears to contribute to society your whole life in America. only for somebody to come here that's illegal and just being handed all of those tax dollars that I worked so hard to put into this country. That's insulting, to say the least. And I would be emotional about that as well. It's heartbreaking. This is a heartbreaking situation. It's sad that the Biden and the Harris administration continue to reign after results like this. And for people to consider Kamala as the candidate that's best fit for this, come on, we gotta wake up. I'm reading a comment right here. It says, my aunt is a manager at an apartment complex in Atlanta, and they are giving her 0.0000000 socials. Well, socials is all zeros, that have perfect credit scores and no criminal history. I don't know how true that is. Myself, that's me reading it through a comment. I can't verify that or say that is exactly happening, but we see where this is all headed towards. Americans are being replaced. Trump will never deport any of these people. They're propping up his beloved US dollar, even with more fake debt. I don't understand what that means. Maybe somebody can elaborate on what they were trying to do right there. But what else we have here? Truth. They're replacing all of us with illegals from third world countries. It's the Great Reset. And we know the reason as to why this is happening as well. It's really up to no surprise. We know what they're trying to do for November. We know what the plan is. We know what the plot is. This is nothing special. Right here, as I'm literally getting ready to close out the video, it says from I Am Meme, watch as the NYP removes illegal aliens, encampment and unlicensed food stands near the taxpayer-funded Randall's Island migrant shelter. Officers also confiscated stolen mopeds and unregistered vehicles. Sheesh. Yeah, some hardworking New Yorkers can't afford to buy the bare minimum. Let's check this out.
An encampment on Randall's Island. Now, earlier today, they confiscated and removed several vehicles. This comes as Mayor Adams has promised to crack down on issues near a migrant shelter there. Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo is on Randall's Island with what we are seeing there right now. Anthony?
Well, let me tell you, just about a half hour ago, if you were here watching this whole thing, you would have had no idea this was going to happen. It was as if a storm rolled through. I want to just paint the picture here for you. This is the shelter itself here at Randall's Island. You can see some migrants now who are hanging out outside after both the NYPD and Parks Department police came through at about 3:45 and scattered everybody. And if we shift over here, you're looking at what really is an empty space, but this was full of people earlier, vendors, folks hanging out, folks living, and it was largely a non-contested removal and breaking down, really dismantling of all of it. The sun was barely up before the NYPD tow trucks were out. Wheels were strapped up, allowing only enough time to remove belongings. Police hauling the vehicles away as part of a raid near the Randall's Island migrant shelter.
You'll see unregistered cars, mopeds, stolen mopeds.
Chief of Patrol John Schell on Eyewitness News mornings at 10, saying the NYPD often makes these discoveries at Randall's Island, but asserting that his cops remain focused on enforcing the law, not singling anyone out.
We don't care about your status. We're here to fight crime, whoever you may be, wherever you hang out, wherever you live.
Right now, some migrants appear to be living right outside the shelter doors on Randall's Island. You'll find a makeshift barber shop, food stands, and police posted close to this big encampment. The Adams administration has said it will not tolerate encampments outside the shelter, just as it wouldn't on city streets. And we do want to show you some video now that actually gives you an idea of the dismantling of that large encampment we just showed you that happened at about 3:45. That encampment was here all throughout the day, and then the police department, the Parks Department, they rolled on through at about 3:45. They packaged some stuff up. They told people to scatter. All of the migrants and the folks that were hanging out outside of the Randall's Island migrant shelter basically had no other choice but to leave and move along, and they did. There are still some folks hanging outside here now. Again, I had a photographer out here. He witnessed a lot of it. He said that largely it was peaceful. It was non-contested. Again, not a lot of what they really could do in response to the police. If we could bring it back to a live picture, if we have not already done already. But again, you can see a much different scene now, a much different scene from that story we just showed you of what the encampment looked like throughout the day. And of course, mostly cleared out, some NYPD brass still on scene after their patrolmen and the Parks Department cleared it all out about 15, 20 minutes ago.
What sucks is my first thought was, is Kamala showing up anytime soon? Because I'm actually doing something about it right now. Makes me just question, like, oh, that means Kamala's gonna be, or some Democrat is coming through that area and sometime soon. That's sad to even have to think that. Wow, somebody said, I thought that they was coming here for a better life. They definitely got it. They got cars, they got cribs, you know what I mean? They got barbers, as you can see. They got everything they need, basically for free.